something has happened to Trump recently that I think that we should put a pin on. We should put a pin on. So if you go back before this speakership election chaos, President Trump tweeted either late last week or early this week. He tweeted, or not tweeted, he's not on Twitter, is he? Over on Truth Social, he posted, and he said, quote, "It wasn't my fault that Republicans didn't live up to expectations in the midterms. I was 233 to 20. It was the abortion issue, poorly handled by many Republicans, especially those that firmly insisted on no exceptions, even in the case of rape, incest, or life of the mother, that lost large number of voters. Also, the people that pushed so hard for decades against abortion got their wish from the U.S. Supreme Court and just plain disappeared, not to be seen again. Plus Mitch stupid monies." In other words, Donald Trump blamed pro-lifers for the fact that Republicans did not see the red wave that we had hoped to see in the midterm election. This is bananas on many levels, but let's just break this down. So Trump's bombastic nature, I have always found to be very entertaining. I've never been one that's particularly offended by Trump. I think his comments are generally funny. I don't mind that he pushes politicians. They're politicians, for goodness sake. They should be pushed, especially swamp creatures in mainstream media. Like, sure, yell at Jim Acosta. I couldn't care less. That's hilarious to me. Now everyone else treats these people because they work for CNN or the New York Times. They treat them like they have earned this position of respect when they haven't. Their behavior has been atrocious. I've always found Trump's bombastic nature to be more or less entertaining, and he used it to his advantage in negotiations, political negotiations, right? It was Trump's no BS demeanor that won him the white working class vote in 2016. Because, this is very key, it's not because it was charming to everyone, it's not because everyone found it entertaining, it's not because it was inoffensive. A lot of people were offended by what he said, whether or not I agree with that. The reason it worked in 2016 was because Trump was an outsider. And it was because he wasn't a politician that when he called out BS the way that he did, it resonated with people because they were like, yes, this is what I'm thinking as a non-politician when I see slimy politicians being corrupt. And so they saw something of themselves in Trump because he was an outsider, because he wasn't running a traditional campaign. He was talking directly to the people at these rallies. He was freestyling. He was engaging in conversation, and people liked it. It worked. But now, something has changed. Even a lot of people who think President Trump was a good president, at least up until COVID, or who were Trump supporters outright, are turned off by Trump's behavior. So why is that? I'm going to tell you why that is. Trump should be listening to this. I hope he is listening to this, because he needs to recognize the disconnect that has happened between he and his base. Now Trump is not an outsider. He is no longer one of the people. He is one of the politicians. In fact, he is a consultant class politician now. And what I mean by that is I know for a fact that the political consultant class who feel like they control all politicians, they feed politicians talking points, they tell politicians if you don't handle a certain situation or a certain topic by saying X, Y, Z, then this demographic will turn against you. And so they control politicians, both candidates and politicians in office, by this fear-mongering of, oh, we know, we're the experts. We know the demographics of the people, and if you don't say what we think you should say, then the people will turn against you and you'll lose your seat. Trump is now a consultant class politician because I know for a fact that the narrative that the consultants are pushing on Republicans right now is a narrative that says, don't touch abortion. Don't talk about Roe v. Wade. Don't act overjoyed. Don't celebrate this. Don't be pro-life. Be silent. Hide. Pretend you don't support this. Otherwise, you'll lose all the voters that you ever wanted. That is what Republican consultants are pushing on Republican politicians and on Republican political organizations. It's why you'll never see fundraising emails about Roe v. Wade. It's why you'll never hear politicians talk about abortion right now. They're all silent about it. We just experienced the biggest pro-life victory in the history of the pro-life movement with the overturn of Roe v. Wade. Politicians won't touch it because the political consultants are threatening them. Trump is being controlled by political consultants right now. He's not an outsider anymore. He's a politician. He was a wrecking ball before, with his bombastic nature, and it was charming because he was an outsider, but it's not so charming when that wrecking ball is not aimed at the swamp, it's aimed at us, his base. He's aiming that wrecking ball at the principles of the base that he would need in order to ever win an election ever again.